everybody, and welcome to the Discerning Nerd. I'm your host, Will Allen, and with me, as always,
Michael Bryson.
All right, today we're going to talk about programming ethics. In specific, we're going to talk about freemium games and microtransactions in AAA titles, and is that cool?
Yeah. And basically, to get down to the nitty-gritty of things, we really want to discuss kind of whether or not it's right, I suppose, to run games the way that they're being run nowadays as mere cash cows. And the main thing I wanted to focus on is when we're talking about freemium games, the entire model is built around necessarily making you spend money, but they have to get you to spend money in a certain way, so they make you need to spend money. So a lot of games, what they'll do is they'll have a really, really, really easy, very fast-paced early game. And then they have a really, really slow-paced, bogged-down late game. And what that ends up doing is early on, you get these quick, really chunky level ups. Because we'll say I'll bring up Puzzle and Dragons. You know? That one doesn't do it too badly. There is definitely a paywall that you hit with that one. But I personally played it, so I know that like every time you level up, you get the same number added to your total team cost, your HP, and your max stamina. Now that means it's the same number, which means every single time you level up, it affects your game less than the last time you leveled up. Because it doesn't scale with your level.
Oh, so it's the exact same number every time.
Exactly. Okay. So basically, from, say you start with 20 stamina, when you hit level 2, you have 25 stamina. 20 to 25 is a pretty big leap.
Yeah.
That's a decent chunk. But then when you get to level, whatever the calculation would be, but you go from like 195 to 200, that's not a big leap. That's change. It's nothing. And so that kind of slowdown, I mean, that's classic in a lot of RPGs. A lot of RPGs have done that, but they took that and, you know, they added this thing where you have a really low chance to pull something that's actually good. That's another one. A lot of the ones where you have cards or creatures, it's your chances of pulling anything are infinitesimally small. And you always need premium currency to pay for the chance to get something good.
Yeah, I really hate when games want you to pay real money for their gambling mechanic.
Exactly.
That's the big, huge knock I've got against Overwatch. Overwatch, all the characters are free, the gameplay is free, but the character skins, the stickers, the tattoos, everything are in those frickin' gamble boxes, which, you know, you can get with in-game currency, but the rate you accrue in-game currency has nothing to do with the amount the boxes cost.
Yeah, we will speak about in-game currency in a little bit. Basically, what it makes is an addiction mechanic. It gives you a really good, satisfying reward early on, so you're pleased with yourself. You accomplish something. You feel good about it.
And you want to keep accomplishing things at that same rate, which
Bingo.
eventually starts to cost money.
Exactly. And so you are addicted. Now, you can see the same thing outside of a freemium model when it comes to leveling up in a Call of Duty game. It's what you have is you have level ups and you get small rewards. Where like, yeah, you have you get slightly better perks and I guess different kill streaks in some of the games and different weapons, but in a game where 2 or 3 bullets kills you no matter what, there's not actually that much difference between the guns, between the different scopes, between the perks even. You know, there's not that much difference when at the core you can kill someone just as easily with any singular weapon in the game. It might suit your playstyle to have something that fires a little bit faster because maybe you're a little wild on the trigger, but at its core, what they're actually doing is just giving you a little tantalizing bit because the gameplay itself is the color gray. It's bland. It's water.
It hasn't changed for 10 years.
Yeah,
Call of Duty, I will give them credit. They basically invented the twin-stick shooter thing. The left to aim, right to fire, you know, B to throw grenades.
Yeah, left to move, right to aim. I know what you mean.
They invented the first-person shooter control scheme. Good for them. And they've done nothing to it since they invented it.
No, it's... That's kind of my issue with it. Is in fact, it's gotten less complicated as time has gone.
That's true.
And it's to make it more accessible. And I get from a business standpoint what they're doing.
Well, yeah, even though they sell M-rated games, they still want 12-year-olds to buy it, because 12-year-olds are dumb, and they will spend money and, their parents' money trying to get things in a game they already paid for.
Yes. And that's what it is. It's that addiction mechanic. It's that achievement. Because when you get to the max level in Call of Duty, you can prestige, which just knocks you back down to level 1.
And what puts a star next to your name?
It puts a star next to your name. Purely aesthetic, purely cosmetic, doesn't actually help you. Contrast that with, say, making a skill legendary in Skyrim, where you get all your perk points back, you can spend them as you choose, and it gives you the ability to accrue experience to level up more and get more perk points. Whereas prestiging in Call of Duty, it doesn't do anything besides put a star next to your name. You have to go through the exact same experience log as before with no advantages. You don't actually get rewarded for your work there. And all it is so that you can keep getting that sweet, satisfying feeling that's, to some people, the equivalent of Maxwell's silver hammer,
Yeah.
It's heroin in the veins.
I wasted, 200 hours of my life playing this game, but look how big my e-penis is.
Mm-hmm. It's on specific equipment. It's not on the chance to get something good.
Yeah, direct buying is still crappy if the stuff that you're paying for is categorically better than the stuff you can get that's free.
But it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's better than basically shoving quarters into a slot machine, hoping something good comes out before you run out of money.
And that's exactly what most of these mechanics do. And it's just that I guess that school of thought where your customers are just wallets with eyes. And what you need from them first and foremost is not their support, you need their money.
Well, yeah, the game isn't a product anymore. It's a vector with which they can acquire more of your money.
Yeah, which is utterly ridiculous. And when you can really see this, I'm going to say this, I love Blizzard games. Particularly, I am a Diablo junkie.
I don't.
Yeah. And specifically, that's my thing. I played old Warcraft before it was an MMO. I played StarCraft and its expansion. I've played Diablo since day one. I even have, and I don't mean to sound like a hipster, but I even have Hellfire.
You usually do, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have Hellfire, the Sierra-developed expansion to Diablo 1. I love these games, and they've been a big part of my video gaming life for so long. And so I still, to this day, I play Diablo 3 with my wife, and I adore it. But it seems to me like Diablo 3 is getting about the best support out of any of the Blizzard games. And that's ridiculous. It's a dungeon-crawling loot fest.
Well, they've run out of things to support. World of Warcraft is basically at the end of its usability.
Yeah,
they haven't released an expansion in over a year, and that usually means the MMO is only running on momentum at this point.
Yeah, they're about to release one, and they're introducing a new class and everything. They're trying to breathe some new life into it, but I don't know if it's going to work.
But StarCraft 2 is a failure.
Yeah, it did not garner anywhere near the following the original did.
Heroes of the Storm isn't doing much.
It made barely a splash. I mean, I feel at this point
it
Smite
doesn't help that they released
is still doing better than that.
Heroes of the Storm came out into a market that's being dominated by League of Legends and Smite and Dota, and now Paragon, I guess. But they were like, oh, look, this is just like those games, but you can play with our established Blizzard heroes, and everyone basically went, we don't care.
And I'm actually, we're going to focus on Blizzard as a company for a little bit, because they've actually done a really good job trying really hard to balance things, specifically in Diablo. Whereas in other games, they have this cycle of nerf and buff. As if nobody's using something...
They react to complaining about something, then react to the new complaints about that.
Yes, and so I'll give a really good example. It was the Miracle Rogue deck in Hearthstone. It got immediately
Heroes of Warcraft. It's a stupid name for a game, guys. I'm sorry.
It is. Hearthstone. Here's Warcraft. But yeah, they nerfed Miracle Rogue really early on because they said they don't like the potential of Oko decks. It's one-hit KO. They don't want them to be able to dish out enough damage in one turn to kill you. But they, for some reason, allowed Grim Patron Warrior to last for as long as it did, despite the fact that it could OHKO easily, and that Warrior at the time had other viable decks like Control Warrior where they could still be competitive. And that's utterly ridiculous. But why didn't they balance? Why don't they actually balance? A nerf buff like cycle where things are just on the top, like without question, that's not a good system.
Because, I don't know, that's the system Magic the Gathering has been using for the last 25 years.
Yeah, and honestly, though I play Magic, I play it very casually. I will never play Standard. But
Standard's bullshit. I'm gonna call that.
Yeah, it is. It's because it's the investment commitment you have to make for a deck that won't even last a year.
3 months.
Yeah,
Isn't it they come out
it's
3
absurd.
months?
But they don't cycle out of rotation necessarily. He's like, if you...
But a new set comes out every 3 months, which means the hardcore Magic player every 3 months has to drop, what, $500?
Depends. Some of the decks, yes. Some of the decks you can get for the measly price of $150.
Oh God. And that's if you're net decking, not if you're just pulling random and assembling it yourself.
Bingo. That's if you're buying singles. Now, what it is...
We've said a lot of words that a lot of people probably don't know.
The podcast is called The Discerning Nerd.
That's true. Get on our level.
But what we have now
our
is...
horrible, depressing, nerdy level.
I'm specifically... With WoW, I think it's just a matter of they can't get the balance right, period. But when it comes to Heroes of the Storm, and when it comes to Hearthstone, and we'll bring in League of Legends on this, the reason you don't actually want to balance effectively is because when you have to pay to get the things you do not have, if you already have the best thing, you don't need to spend any more money. So then what do? People complain that everyone has that hero, it's dominating the metagame, and so they nerf it, which means it's not good anymore, which means you have to go with the next best thing, but you didn't own that already. So now you have to buy it. So you spend your money, and you spend your money, and this cycle continues. And I will especially call out League of Legends on this one, because when your game contains 130 different characters, and only 20 of them, at most, are legitimately playable in a competitive scene, you have failed at your job of balancing. Period.
Dynasty Warriors has better usability ratios than that. I played Dynasty Warriors Gundam. You can play as the fucking gunball. That mech sucks ass.
But
you can still
play.
Use it.
Exactly. And that's my point. And Here's the Storm, it's the same way. They do the free hero rotation so you get a taste. It's that addiction. You get a taste like, I love this hero. They're great. They're new. Every new hero is always awesome. Why? Because they cost more money.
Oh yeah, and I'll bring up the one time I fell into the freemium pit. I got super into playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Not Marvel Ultimate Alliance. What's that stupid Facebook browser one?
I don't remember. Something of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was like...
The Facebook Marvel game.
Yes.
That's an RPG. I was just going to play it for free. I was like, oh, this will be fun. Like, your resources refresh every day. But then they launched a special event. And it was impossible to finish that special event without spending money.
Yeah.
Because the heroes cost too much of the in-game currency for you to generate in any reasonable amount of time. So every month I had to drop like $20 to stay competitive and make sure I had these heroes and get the new stuff. And then they started releasing skins for the heroes, which changed their powers, which cost more of the little in-game currencies. And if you can't generate it fast enough, so you gotta spend more real money. And the metagame would shift as they would nerf and buff as people complained because the PvP was ridiculously unbalanced. Unless you were using certain combinations of heroes. And some of the heroes you may not have. And if you didn't have them, fuck you, you lose.
Jesus! It was just insane. I had a similar experience. I ended up not dropping much money on it, but I still dropped some money on it. It was this DBZ card battler for Android systems.
Oh dear.
It was actually developed in Taiwan, I think.
God.
Yeah, but it wasn't an officially licensed game, but it was pretty faithful. But basically, I was not competitive at all. I didn't want to be. But it was one of those games where you could be decently competitive if you had decent stuff, but upgrading your characters cost so much that you really kind of had to shell it out. But every now and then they have a sale where if you just spend $1, you get some extra stuff. And they're like, it's XP for your characters, right? So every now and then I'd shell out $1. And then I looked at the end of it when I stopped playing. I was like, I spent $40 on this, each on like separate weeks, though. Like I was never spending $40 at a time, but I still spent $40 on it. Mm-hmm. And then I actually did the calculation. And to just use the in-game currency, like the actual, like the premium currency, to just straight up buy a Goku, it cost over $10,000.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you could technically earn the currency in-game, but you'd be earning $10,000 worth of it. It's insane. It is legitimately insane.
But people do it, and mostly because little kids who have their parents' credit card information and just, like, remember
beep, beep,
Tap
beep.
Fish? Kid didn't realize it cost more money to revive the fish. Spent $3,000 in like 4 days.
Yeah, and that's crazy. But that's what it is. It's deliberately trying to fool people out of their money, because this is the cool thing about it, is it's a fucking mind game. It really is. Because they don't tell you this costs $10. They say this costs 12 jelly beans. But 12 jelly beans costs $10.
Pokemon Go's all over that right now.
Yes. It's Pokecoins. But Pokecoins cost money. But you can get Pokecoins from, like, owning a gym. But enough people playing the game now...
The gyms don't last. You can get, like, 10 a day. Maybe.
Exactly. Because the gyms, naturally, because it's you as a player being able to dodge at will, taking on Pokemon being controlled by the AI. You're not facing another player. It's not true PvP. It's PvAI. And so
the AI beats me a lot.
The trick is, the game is clearly designed so people don't hold on to gyms. Gyms are meant to be taken, not held.
Yeah.
Obviously. So it limits anybody from generating a massive amount of Pokecoins. And I understand that. You do want to make money on your game that's a freemium model. But none of the pricing, in my opinion, is ever, I guess, reasonable.
Pokemon Go's is close to reasonable. It cost $1 to get 20 Pokeballs.
Yeah.
Is the exchange rate I use, like,
basically.
with things.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. What people are spending tons of money on, though, is getting Lucky Eggs, Incense, and Lure modules, which all cost, I think to get 8 of them, you have to spend $10.
Yeah. I think more. Because it's $4.99 for, like, I think 260 Pokecoins.
The $4.99 one is enough to buy the second level of everything.
Yeah. It gives you enough Pokecoins to buy any of that.
Yeah.
I think except for Lucky Eggs. Lucky Eggs cost more.
Lucky Eggs cost more.
But, I mean, that's a good point. And that is a difference. It's decently reasonable. I've played a game called Knights. It was called, like, Knights and Dragons, I believe. And I spent exactly 0 money on that game. But I could see where people had spent a lot of money.
Because they were way better than you.
Yep. I got lucky. I was actually really good. But I got super lucky. And I knew how to generate premium currency. For people who didn't know how to generate premium currency at a decent rate, and here's the thing, it was a second job.
Yep.
And that's what it is. It was a second job to generate enough. But I did. Other people didn't, and it was one of those things where if everything in the game is basically, it's a collecting thing. You get armors. Mm-hmm. And your armors dictate how powerful you are. And to get one of the top tier armors, to get a chance to get one of the top tier armors costs like 5 gems. 5 gems costs $5.
Oh.
It was a gem a buck.
Jeez.
Exactly. So that means to try to, and you had the highest chance if you bought like 10 at a time.
Yeah.
And that would almost definitely net you one, which means you got one for like $50. You spent the price of basically a retail at launch AAA title to get one weapon, basically. That's insane. That's not reasonable at all.
But it's profitable.
Yeah, and the other way they do it is they let everything not games like Clash of Clans, Mobile Strike, Game of War, Fire Age, which Game of War, Fire Age, and Mobile Strike are basically the same game set in different time periods and settings. Build times.
Zynga.
Stop it! Build times. Build times are ridiculous as a mechanic. They really are. Why should this house that the first level took 3 minutes to build should take 3 days at level 5?
Why does Candy Crush have a cooldown on the shit dropping?
Yes.
Facebook. You're a curse upon gaming. Take your Farmville and your Candy Crush and return from whence you came to the depths of digital hell.
Yeah, and basically I look at it as people who are developing smaller titles are looking at it one of two ways. And I will bring up Dota in a second as a good example. As a good example of what they're doing right. And basically what they're saying is, should we make a good game and then let that good game make us money because people are willing, and they are, to pay for quality? Or should we make a game that cheats people out of their money and then not actually have to spend the money making the game good? And that's it. Like, why balance in League of Legends, which is the #1 competitive game in the world and has been for a long time? Highest payouts, period. Most players, period.
I still think professional gaming is ridiculous, but...
You know, to each his own. But
someone's
think
willing
about
to fund
that.
it, yeah.
Exactly. Someone's willing to fund it. Someone's willing to shell out the money.
They're also
It's
willing
fine.
to ruin Street Fighter V to make sure it's released in time for EVO. Fuckers.
But when you have a game that's played on that massive of a scale and platform, but at the same time, you can't make most of your champions legitimately playable. That's insane. That's a failure. But the money keeps pouring in. And some people say that the heroes or the champions are easy enough, and since there are only a few of them that you actually need to get, that it doesn't cost that much money.
But
that's true, but the
ones
runes...
you need to get keep changing.
And the runes cost money. Yes, you can buy them in game currency, but you should be spending that on getting the heroes that you actually need to be competitive. And the runes change how the game is played. And there are so many of them. And you have to buy rune pages so you can equip more runes. That's utterly ridiculous. That's a snowman. It's just stacking it on top of each other. These bits and these bits and these bits. You have to pay for every single step of it.
I kind of hope someday the League of Legends server becomes a man and he walks into a restaurant and orders a huge meal of runes and heroes. And then the waiter goes, "Will you have one wafer-thin mint?" And then League of Legends explodes.
I couldn't eat another bite.
Maybe one wafer-thin mint?
I'm gonna explode. You know, side note, just for fun, you know Monty Python? Like, all the members...
I was like, no, I just made that reference on accident.
Yeah. No. Mama, shut up. But the members of Monty Python pretty much hate everything they did while they were Monty Python.
Well, yeah.
They think it's just a horrible part of their career.
John Cleese hates everything he's ever done.
Never happy.
No, he's not. I don't know. He's the happiest man who hates everything.
Yeah.
Come on,
John
man.
Cleese, though. I'd be his friend.
You're the reason I can tolerate Rat Race.
Shut up. I love that movie.
Oh, it's a great movie. No, it's not a great movie. It's a shit movie, but it's a fun movie.
Yes, exactly. It's a popcorn movie.
They attack Dean Cain with a helicopter.
Why
and it ends
don't
with a
you want that?
Smash Mouth concert. How much more 90s could you get than that?
And the song is All-Star.
Because it was the 90s, it was always All-Star. That's how the Digimon movie ended.
Yep. I kind of wonder, honestly...
Fucking...
Like, it occurred to me, at what point do you think the lead singer of Smash Mouth dyed his hair and started visiting diners, drive-ins, and dives?
Oh, God! No, do not really... Oh, God,
It's the same guy. Like, you know it is. It's clearly the same guy.
Imagine if Guy Fieri was the lead singer of Smash Mouth.
He is. I swear to God. There's
It's
no
not
way.
the same person.
Yes, it is. It's
no,
the same guy.
It's not the same guy.
I've never seen them in the same room together.
I've never seen you and Barack Obama in the same room. That doesn't make you the same guy.
It doesn't make sense. He's taller than me. and also black.
How tall is the leader of Smash Mouth? And how tall
Same
is
height as Guy
Fieri?
Fieri. They're clearly the same guy.
Okay, no, because the lead singer of Smash Mouth is not a human dumpster fire.
You're right, he's not, because he's only a human dumpster fire when he calls himself Guy Fieri.
Are you proposing that the lead singer of Smash Mouth has some sort of magical girl transformation in which he becomes Guy Fieri?
Hell no, he's got a stylist.
What?
Clearly, he's got a stylist.
No.
This totally makes sense.
No. Go back to freemium.
All right, and the other school of thought, besides that, is essentially, like I was saying, do we just screw our customers? And I hate that because it dehumanizes your customers. It treats them literally like cattle. Like you can just take from them as you see fit and do what you want with it. And I wouldn't have a problem with it if they were developing good games too. But they're not. It's the same people are just making the same shit over and over again. And they're lining their pockets. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they would stop if people would quit doing it, but...
Exactly. A lot of the blame can be levied on the customers not wising up. It's because at the end of the day, it is kind of nice to feel like you accomplished something.
Oh, yeah.
And I get that, but don't spend money on it.
And that's all on the freemium model. What's way worse to me is when not free games do the same thing.
Yeah, okay. I have always been a huge Dead Space fan, and I love Dead Space 1. It was nearly perfect. I feel like Dead Space 2 was damn close to perfection. Dead Space 3 floundered in a lot of ways, but the one that I never used it, so it didn't detract from my experience, but I found it insulting. Was that you could get crafting materials with real money.
Microtransactions.
And the worst part is it was gambling. You weren't even guaranteed. It was just some of this rank, and they have these stats maybe. Really? Like, EA, you're vicious, evil bastards. But that took it a little too far.
They did it to fucking Mass Effect 3, too, in the multiplayer. Oh,
Yes.
man, I'd love to play with the Geth Engineer. Well, too bad. You gotta buy the fucking gold pack to guarantee you get an ultra-rare freaking card. It might be the one you want.
Battlefield 3 and 4. Shortcut packs. They're literally offering you the chance to pay to not play their game. Because the whole point of playing the game is essentially, and that kind of thing, is to unlock all the stuff, I guess.
Well, nobody wanted to play Battlefield 4, so...
Well, it's to unlock all the stuff. It's to unlock all the stuff, and then you get all the stuff, and then you have all the stuff, and it's great because you have all the stuff. So what is the fucking point of playing the game if you already have the stuff? It's why Diablo 3 got rid of their real money auction house. Because it was ruining the goddamn game.
Wasn't it also because people were, cheating and hacking in money and...
Nah, they put a stop to that pretty quickly. It was literally because when your entire game is based around random generated loot drops, offering people the chance to just straight up buy whatever they wanted was clearly the dumbest fucking thing anyone has ever brought to a developer.
Well, it was
period.
It was letting people have, the Diablo equivalent of gold farms over in China. It was people who played all day.
Professionally.
To get the drops so they could sell them in the auction house.
And the thing is, I don't necessarily have a problem with microtransactions if they don't affect the gameplay. But when you offer people the ability to buy their way into victory, that is unethical. And now, like I said, a lot of that is something that the customers bear the burden of. If you are willing to buy your way to victory, you're kind of just a shitty gamer. I'm sorry. Say you don't have the time to play the game. I get that. Then, do you really have time to be good at it? And if you don't have time to be good at it, is it even worth it to have all the stuff if you don't have time to use it? What's the point then? The point is to say you have it. So you are literally paying for bragging rights. How does that make you any different from somebody that you would normally criticize for, say, putting a mod kit on a car, not because they actually use it in street racing, but because they want to look like they street race? That's very different.
Well, yeah, and real street racers don't put mod kits on their cars.
No, because they fuck up the performance.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying, is it creates this culture where you have people who just buy their way into victory. And why even do that?
Well, that was why PlayStation didn't, when they instituted the trophies, they didn't give them a numerical value.
Yep.
Because it was either you had the trophy or you didn't, as opposed to people's gamer score, which...
Well, the thing is, the trophies have levels as bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, but that strictly denotes the difficulty of attaining the trophy.
Yeah.
It is bragging rights without giving them a numerical score
it doesn't
with which to measure their EP.
Yeah, it doesn't give them the e-boner of, look how high my gamer score is, where people were, renting frickin' movie tie-in games from Blockbuster because they were an easy 100 gamers or easy 1,000 gamer score, slamming through it in a weekend.
Yeah, the only reason anyone ever bought Bullet Witch was to get the gamer score. And at the end of the day, nobody has ever actually given a flying fuck about a gamer score.
No, because, well, they don't care about the actual score. They want to know which achievements you got, which the trophies get straight to. Do you have this one or do you not have this one?
Boom.
How many platinums do you have? If you have that platinum, you 100% of the game. That's the only thing you get a platinum trophy
Exactly. Boom. 100% of the game. I got every achievement. And the achievements are little challenges. They're nice. And that was one thing.
Or they're bullshit, like kill 10,000 guys in Gears of War 2.
Oh, God. At some point, we will do an episode on ripping off game mechanics, and that is at the top of my fucking list. So we'll get to that. But no, and what it is I feel like there's this feeling with a lot of these smaller developers and some large ones like Riot, where people, like, money is making the actual design obsolete. It's just give them something they can look at that rewards them from doing something stupid, and then make them pay to continue doing that stupid thing, because we automatically assume that anyone that plays our game is sad and just needs something to help them get through the day.
Yeah. And you get the really bad ones is when you get, like I said, Riot, EA, whoever. They already paid $60 for this game. How can we make them spend more money on this game?
Yeah, EA's the one that's bad about that. Riot, their game is free, and I get it, but there's so much to spend money on. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, I'll just go buy a new game. I just bought Tales from the Borderlands for $12.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So many games out there, so many games that are offered like on sales or for free, so many great indie games that don't do this.
Yeah, Undertale cost $8.
Exactly. And look, I have a game on my phone. I'm going to plug this because this game is amazing. It is a turn-based roguelike dungeon crawler called Hoplite. Hoplite. You can play the demo, which
like
is
the Romans.
Yeah, which is you can play the demo, which is actually a pretty meaty demo for free, no ads. And you can buy the full game, bar none, for $1.99, which unlocks everything. That is how you make a game. You give me a game, I pay for the game. If you're gonna sell me DLC, make it worth it. I'm gonna point out Borderlands. The first one definitely. The second one, sort of, with a lot of the cosmetic and the characters. They went kind of overboard in the different DLC. But for the actual story DLC,
you got a lot.
The first one, the second one, you got a shitload. And I'll Fallout 4. The little, like, the workshop DLCs, but the actual story DLCs for, like, Bethesda games, they give you a lot of content for your money. To the point where if you, like, bought it on release for $60, Borderlands 1, and then you bought all the DLC, which cost total, like, $60 after that, you got, like, the length of an entirely new game. It was worth the money. I'll contrast that with a game that I really like, but felt cheated on the DLC. I love Castlevania Lords of Shadow, just the first one. It borrowed from a lot of games, but it did it all right, and it was polished, and it was a great game. It felt good. The DLC...
But did it answer the greatest question of Castlevania? What is a man?
What has the line goes, a miserable pile of secrets and lies! God... I will just listen to that. I'll just listen to the dialogue in that game because it's atrocious.
I'm always sad that game didn't get its Japanese title in America. Dracula X.
No. That's a different one.
Is it?
That's Rondo of Blood.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Dracula X Rondo of Blood. It's Nocturne in the Moonlight was Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they just literally mistranslated it like assholes. Seriously. We got Symphony of the Night, and because it's Nocturne in the Moonlight, Nocturne of the Moonlight, and what they said, they looked at it and went, well, it's some kind of music thing symphony. Got it? And then the next one, that word is probably something to do with nighttime. We'll just move on.
Yeah.
Like that, they just... but it did start the... that
Alucard is Dracula
thing.
Backwards.
That was started in Castlevania 3, okay, and everyone already knew that. They should have just called him Dr. Acula. Would anybody have even... But yeah, and
It's
the
like
thing
the
is...
subtitles on Hellsing all say Alucard, and when someone asked the translators why they spelled it wrong in the subtitles, if in the dub they're saying Alucard, they said it was because the Japanese production company insisted that it had to be Alucard because it was Dracula backwards.
Yes, that is a thing. And it's kind of like in Aria of Sorrow, the guy who's supposed to be Alucard is named Arikado.
They should have just fucked with it.
And we all
called him Avocado.
Or Avogadro. It's lawyer in Spanish.
Avogadro, the alligator. It's nuclear powered.
Whee!
Rugrats was weird.
Yes. But basically, a good way I want to look at it is... Really, honestly, you can include microtransactions, but they need to be reasonable. Like, I'll look at two games that are fairly similar. One of them is much, much smaller, but we're going to look at Hearthstone versus Duelist.
Mm-hmm.
Duelist, I'm going to plug this game too. Duelyst. It's a small game, but it's essentially...
Dual yeast.
Shut up. But it's basically...
What does it mean? It means I need to make bread twice.
Indeed. Yakatate! But what it is essentially Hearthstone, but instead of just playing face-to-face, basically, it's on a grid, and it's a turn-based strategy as well as a card battler. And it's an incredibly beautiful game with, like
Baiten Kaitos.
Yeah, with pixelated graphics that look, I mean, they're gorgeous. You have a lot of very unique things, beautiful sprites. But my point is, look at the quest system in Hearthstone. It's always win a game. It's win a game. Win a game as this class. And that's how you have to do it. It's win 3 games as this class and you get some gold. That means you already have to have a competitive deck to win. Duelist, it's play a game as this class, which means even if you're the worst player on the planet, you can still buy more cards. Also, the card packs have a higher chance of dropping better cards, which makes it more reasonable. It's gambling because it's a card game, but you don't actually need to spend money because you can always be guaranteed just by playing the game to be generating the currency required to pay for the cards. And with a higher drop rate, you have to buy less of them. And on top of that, every class is balanced. Any of them can be easily used to take out your opponent, no matter who your opponent is and no matter who you are. It's brilliant. Whereas you look at Hearthstone, and it's that nerf buff cycle again. Rogue was too powerful. Nerf Rogue. Warrior was too powerful. Nerf Rogue. Right now, Priest is fucking unplayable. That was my favorite class. I poured my heart and soul, and no real-world money, thank God, into getting a good competitive Priest deck. And then it's waylaid completely. I can't play the game anymore, honestly, because I have no dust, I have no things to disenchant, because I already spent it all making a good deck that I thought was going to last me.
Heroes of Warcraft!
You know, but that's the thing, it's not reasonable. And when you look at that, when you look at a smaller company that developed Duelist, and you go, well, it was really easy for these guys who don't have the experience you guys have.
Well, I think we've learned big companies will miss the simple solution because they've turned into bureaucratic nightmares.
Yes. And it's
like,
utterly
look at
ridiculous.
EA released a version of Tetris that's buggy. Tetris!
What the hell?
How do you release buggy Tetris? It wasn't buggy when it came out 30 years ago.
And the big one is...
I could play it on my calculator in high school.
Yes, exactly. Which means you should be able to pull off Tetris.
Also, put Galaga on the
Yeah.
Steam. I could play that. I'm a calculator too. Phoenix. Weapon 5.
Yeah, come on, guys. We all need Galaga, right?
Yeah, who else went to high school in the mid-2000s?
Yeah, TI-83. I loved my TI-83 because nobody realized I was bullshitting. I was never working on it. Why would you? Weapon 5. But that is honestly the problem, is that if you give me something that is an aesthetic reward for money, I just don't have to buy it. I don't need it to be competitive. I need it to look flashy, and that's it. But if you require me to buy to stay competitive, or my other choice is turn this into a second job, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
That's all you are.
Like,
you are an asshole.
Like Tales games. My favorite thing to find in the Tales games is the alternate costume pieces.
Yeah, so much fun.
I don't ever buy the freaking costume packs.
Pirate Lloyd.
I don't buy the costume packs because that's dumb. One, mostly because it's just costumes of other characters, and why the fuck would I do that? When I could do, like, in my recent playthrough of Tales of Zestiria, I decided my team was going to have a uniform. Everyone had to wear the sidekick mask. So I had a bunch of fucking Robins running around saving the world. And it started as sunglasses, but then I found out that there was a mask, and I was like, well, obviously that.
Yeah, well, clearly. Like, everybody's running around like tiny Zorros.
Hey, in friggin' Xenoblade Chronicles X, in the character customization, you can put face tattoos. One of them is basically Nightwing's mask. It's like, well, that.
Which is very similar to Kyle Rayner's mask, which looks like a crab.
Crab face.
Crab people. You know, but,
Zoidberg will save you!
If we will look at League of Legends versus Dota 2 again, I know League of Legends has so many more players than Dota 2. And Dota 2 is a more difficult, harder to master game. It just is. It's more technically precise. It has microtransactions, but not a goddamn one of them, not a single one, actually affects the gameplay.
Just costumes and shit.
It's only costumes. It's costumes and other aesthetics. That is it. And that is marvelous, because that means if you want to give them your money, you can, but you don't have to. And honestly, when they make me grind it out, I am less likely to spend money. Like, honestly, I probably could have and would have been happy to give Blizzard my money for Hearthstone if they had only introduced, like, the real money as cosmetic. But
how would you do cosmetic on cards?
Like card backs, or like new playing boards, or like the golden portraits they do offer now.
I would want one that turns them all into Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I agree, that would be awesome.
Just to fuck with everyone else who didn't have it. It's like,
Raigeki, bitch!
Yes, no, it's just, you're playing, it's like, alright, I summon my Orc Warrior. I summoned the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
But yeah, that's one of those things where
I've set up my one-hit kill. You'll lose on the next turn. Oh, unfortunately, I've assembled Exodia! Boom!
But no, that's one of those things. Is honestly, it's at the point where when I run across a game that uses microtransactions strictly for game advantage, I am less likely to give them money. Even if the developer's a good developer and they kind of deserve the money, I won't give it to them out of fucking spite. Seriously, it's like, well, you want me to pay to get good? I just won't play your fucking game. I will grind it out to play your good game rather than give you money when it would have been easier and probably beneficial to give you money because you tried to make me do it.
You've just made me realize I'm fucking astounded that Dark Souls doesn't do that shit.
Well, no, it's because From Software is a good developer. Good developers don't do this. That's the thing. Blizzard... let's actually look at Blizzard games. They're good. They're good games. But when's the last time they had a classic?
Warcraft 3?
Yeah. Because World of Warcraft is still going.
MMOs can't be classics. I'm going to state that as a perhaps controversial opinion. No MMO is a classic game. Because
out.
Because they don't end.
That's actually pretty fair. Nah, Neverwinter Nights.
That's not an MMO.
You can play together, network, but only on custom maps. Okay, shut up. Ultima Online. It was the first.
And
it's dead.
It's dead.
Mostly. But A lot of people classic.
Okay, but
I'll
if you
give you
want to go with early, it's early. It was genre defining. Who the fuck plays?
Who the fuck plays? What is it? Ion. Who plays Ion?
What the hell is Ion?
Boom. There you go. AION.
Oh,
Who the fuck plays Ion?
I've never even heard of that game.
Yeah, that's the thing is,
Tabula Rasa.
Oh, that could have been great, and it just fucking wasn't.
Yeah, thanks EA. Because you know what killed Tabula Rasa, right?
No.
Was the failure of Ultima 9 and 10. Which only happened because EA rushed them. No, wait, Ultima 8 and 9. There was no Ultima 10.
Yeah.
My bad. 8 and 9.
It's a trilogy of trilogies.
Because EA rushed them out, and they sucked.
So people didn't want to invest.
Yeah. Well, they didn't. They moved everyone who was working on Ultima 9 over to Ultima Online. So they had half the programming staff and then a hard date. Game publishers never hard date the programming team. It never ends well.
Yeah, just release the game. Oh, look here. If I gotta wait an extra year for my game, I'm okay with that. And that actually brings me to another one. It's why we're talking.
EverQuest. That was the game I was trying to think
Who
of
plays
before.
EverQuest?
Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah, who plays Final Fantasy 11?
Well, actually, a lot of people because they were pissed off when Final Fantasy 14 came out. Because
A Realm Reborn tried to fix it.
Well, no, they were just mad that a new one came out because they were still playing Final Fantasy 11.
And since we're still talking about programming ethics, pre-ordering is a big deal now. It really is.
I fucking hate pre-orders.
Release your game when it's done. Seriously, I would rather wait longer for my game to be finished. All I want to do, I'm giving you my money because I trust you, because you made good games in the past.
And also,
so release a good game. Don't fuck me over.
Stop hacking pieces out of the game to sell as pre-order bonuses.
Yeah, and
I'm fucking tired of that.
Or DLC that is in the code of the game on
DLC,
release.
Yeah.
And then you buy the ability to unlock it. No. When you make DLC, honestly, you shouldn't even be starting developing DLC. Because the thing is, a lot of development is getting your assets together. It's getting the design elements together. It's not the actual building of the game. Once you have your engine running and you know how things interact with each other, things go a lot more swiftly after that. And so developing a DLC like they used to, the game would be out for 6 months and then they'd announce the DLC. That makes a lot of sense.
But now people are talking about the DLC during the pre-orders.
Yeah, why? That means you already developed your DLC. That's really fucking presumptuous to say that your game is going to be so successful, you already have the DLC, and you're selling season passes to get all the DLC before we even know whether the game is good or not.
Or if the DLC is even going to exist. That's right. Look how pissed off this cat is about DLC.
I will have to apologize to listeners. My cat can be rambunctious, and something tells me that people are going to be a fan of my cats. I have 2 of them. They are Ripley and Midna. They are named after Ellen Ripley and the Twilight Princess.
Ellen Midna.
Ellen Midna.
You don't know that's not her name.
They are my cats. Midna is a black and white tuxedo. They're both females. Ripley is a beautiful gray tabby. And she is the one that's going to be making noise whenever you hear it.
And they fucking hate DLC.
Yeah, they do. But no, it really is a thing that upsets me because you shouldn't even start developing DLC until you know people like your game. Because the entire reason you make DLC is because people want to continue to play a great game.
And I hate season passes, because season passes are, pay a discounted price for all of the DLC. 1, that means you have the DLC planned before you've even released the game.
Yeah.
2, usually they don't announce what the DLC is, so you could shell out $50 for nothing but character skins.
Yep.
Or, you like Star Wars Battlefront, the fucking single-player mode. The hell is wrong with you, DICE?
Yeah, that was fucky. And EA, you should be ashamed.
EA doesn't have any shame.
It just...
If companies were actually people, EA would be that creepy kid who sat in the back of the class, carving runes into his palm.
My cat hates EA, too, apparently. That's
right.
Ridiculous.
That's right. Fuck EA.
But, you know, and I'm going to bring up Destiny on this one, too, because that's a big... Okay,
shit.
that was a hype monster. That was literally Halo aesthetics on a Borderlands clone.
Yep.
It had the Diablo randomized loot table, just the same as Borderlands did. You had your classes that had a 3-pronged skill tree, and each one of them had the special ability that you activated that was on a cooldown. It's fucking Borderlands with Peter Dinklage and zero sense of humor.
Oh, Peter Dinklage is gone. He got replaced with Nolan North when they released The Taken King.
Speaking of The Taken King, I want to talk about that because that's a big ethical misstep. Because literally what Bungie did was they said, we're not working for Microsoft anymore. We're going to release the game that's going to revolutionize the gaming industry. And they're like, oh, by the way, it's just Borderlands, but not as good.
And 6 months after it came out, we're going to release a patch so large...
It has to be a DLC.
It has to be a DLC that we're selling on disc.
Yeah, and not just that. If you didn't get the Taken King, it's not like you just didn't get access to new features. If you didn't get the Taken King, it locked you out of features you already owned. Like, there were certain map types in multiplayer that you couldn't play. What the fuck?
And it added a competent single player because the vanilla Destiny single player was trash.
Mm-hmm. So, literally, what they were saying was, you have to pay $60 to continue playing our game.
And now, because they did all that shit, you can buy the Taken King DLC Pack 1, DLC Pack 2, Ultra Super Mega Collection for $20.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen a game so utterly undeliver. And yet, at the same time, so many people played it. People got Destiny tattoos.
Yeah, those are the people who's like, I love Destiny. It's like, why? There's nothing.
You know why?
There.
It's because they got so jacked up about
Their
it.
Halo boners wouldn't let them hate it.
It's the investment fallacy, is what it is. It's they spent so much time and so much money making sure they got the super collector's edition of Destiny, and then when they played it, they were like, this is literally Borderlands without all the quirky fun. They're like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's get it tattooed on my fucking face, bruh.
Well, I had people like, the story's awesome. I was like, there is no story.
What story? What is it? What is it?
Like, there's a story now after The Taken King came out. The story in that game was the opening cutscene. You're some sort of weird superhuman zombie. Kill things.
Boom.
While the most annoying thing since Navi follows you around and yells at you.
It's this really upsetting thing. Like, that's what I'm saying.
I have an hour of playtime on Destiny because I bought the Destiny bundle because I wanted a white PS4.
Nice.
I traded the game in because I played it for an hour. I beat the tutorial level and went, this is boring as fuck.
Yeah.
And never played it again.
You know, and since we talked about how much I love
Because
Lords of Shadow,
like you're saying, it's like Borderlands, except after the first hour, instead of meeting TK Baja and fucking going to Skag Gulch, you just go up to a space station and then it goes, okay, and then it doesn't give you a goal.
Just do things.
Yeah,
just go, man. Get it on. You know, and I mentioned earlier that I love Lords of Shadow. I really, really do. I think it is a great game, and I will praise its second DLC. Its first DLC. My cat does not like Lords of Shadow. But I will praise the first DLC because it actually... Oh, I'm sorry, I'll praise the second one. I'll criticize the first because the first was like 2 levels and like a gimmicky boss fight that's like wizard chess. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. And then in the second one,
You're a vampire, Harry.
I'm a what? But no, in the second one, you got like this, like, it was really difficult first off, and you got a really, really cool boss fight. That was amazing. And so the second DLC was more worth it. But Lords of Shadow 2 as a game,
Sorry, I'm
like,
doing it.
just, why can't... Okay, here's the thing.
What if Symphony of the Night, it started with Harry Potter? What is a man? More than you'll ever be, Voldemort!
Shut up. God damn it. No, none from you. No more from you. Oh, God. But no, that's another one is, Dead Space 3 did it. Lords of Shadow 2 did it. Here's the thing. When we want a sequel to a game, what we want is more of the same, but tweak the things that didn't work. Do not tweak the things that worked.
Sonic!
Because they worked. The best thing that Sonic has going for it's got that 25th anniversary.
Oh, Sonic Generations is awesome.
Well, no, not that one. The new one that's coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
That, it's not actually developed by Sega. It's published by Sega. I know, right? But Sonic Generations was decent. Sonic Colors was great. Really, any 2D Sonic generally gets it right.
Yeah.
Episode 4 was a little stale because it's basically just rehashing.
I enjoy the 3D adventure, but only the Sonic version.
Yeah.
Like in Sonic Unleashed, the daytime stages where you're just Sonic gotta go fast, those are fun.
Sonic gotta go fast. That's not his last name. His last name is the Hedgehog.
Well, technically, if you want to go into the comics canon, his name is Ogilvy Maurice Hedgehog.
What the fuck, dude?
They were just trying to make his name stupid, so
you justify...
That's why he goes by Sonic.
Well, I like that Tails' real name is Miles per hour. Miles per hour. We get it, man.
And his ancestor is Merlin.
Just Merlin?
Yeah, Merlin Prower. You know,
that's not even a pun.
Like a Cockney driving.
Oh, yeah, Roy.
Merlin per hour.
Yeah, Merlin per hour. Oh, what can I get for you, boy? Oh, yeah. What? What do you bring a gun for?
I just like when they let Tails use the Chaos Emeralds, and you got Supersonic, Hyper Knuckles, and Turbo Tails.
Turbo Tails! I did like that you and I know for a fact, can do legitimately competent Cockney accents, but we specifically just did terrible ones.
Well, because there's real Cockney accents, and then there's...
Peppermint Cockney.
Yeah. Well, there's Peppermint Cockney, and then there's, Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, oi, oi, oi!
Robble, robble, robble.
I feel like this is just good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he did. He was just American guy, then every now and then, oi, oi, oi. That's all.
Yeah, it's how do you do a Cockney accent? Never say the letter H. Hello, Mary Poppins.
They cover that in the Christopher Guest movie, Waiting for Guffman. He's like, I've been working on my English accent. Hello, how are you? Would you like to go to Artford and get out of this L-hole? Exactly. All right, and with that, I believe we're going to wrap it up for tonight.
Yes. Long story, very long story short. Freemium is dumb, and it should go away.
And if you're going to make us pay money, either don't let it affect gameplay, or if it's a game like a card game, let it be reasonable. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for listening. Like us, comment, tell us the topic you'd like us to cover, share it as much as you possibly can, and we love you.
Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Count Crory.
I am at Professor Thursday. I think it might be Prof Thursday. But I think it's Professor Thursday. I don't use my Twitter much.
All right, and check us out when we finally get our YouTube running correctly at Classic City Comedy.
Yes, indeed, my friends.
Good night.